Witches, it's the Zen Witch here with another unboxing, especially for Samhain. And it is morning here. You see how dark and gray the light is? We are under a solid shield of rain, and it's one of my favorite kinds of days. Dark gray, fall, brilliant color. I am a pluviophile, in case you didn't know. Oh, hi, Pi. Hi, Pi. Here, wait. Come say hi to everybody. Come say hi to everybody. Look up here. Bye. See? Say hi. No. No. Okay, please, no, 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 no. No. No, honey. He is a crazy boy this morning. All right, listen. Get your butt back up on the chair because I need to sit forward. Oh, PYEWACKET. The birth of the outtake reel. Let's go back to the deck. Hold on. All right, so today on Samhain, and blessed Samhain to you. I know you're probably, most of you will be watching this when it's not Samhain, but it is Samhain, the day this drops, and I want to wish you the most blessed Samhain, and I specifically chose this deck for today, The Witch's Tarot by Ellen Cannon Reed and Martin Cannon. And I now have pie hair all over my face. So I've had this for a long time. This is Llewellyn Publications and copyright 1989. Complete 78 card deck in full color, complete instructions. You have never before seen a tarot deck. You have never seen a tarot deck like this before. Kabbalist and pagan Ellen Cannon Reed has created the quintessential Witch's Tarot, and from her wonderfully detailed descriptions, artist Martin Cannon has captured the essence of each card. The paintings are truly insightful and beautiful. PYEWACKET. He is having a wrestling match with himself behind my butt. The minor arcana are depicted in a unique and newly symbolic fashion. Also, there are new interpretations of the major arcana. There is no devil, no hierophant, no hermit. There is a horned one, a high priest, and a seeker. Each of the magical spheres is included in striking color on the corresponding cards. This is the perfect tarot for the pagan, witch, or Kabbalist. Now, I do not practice the Kabbalah. I never have. I've never studied it. This was my first introduction to the Kabbalah. I'd heard of it, but probably only because of that Kabbalah game when I was a kid that had the eyeball that went around. Remember that? But this book, and I seem to remember that I got this book first. I mean, this one has a... Yeah, I think I got this book first, and then discovered that there was this one. But let's get into the deck. We've got this little flip open box like this. Love the card backs. This was like the witchiest thing going tarot wise at the time, I remember. Oh, pie. Dear me. So there is a little white book that comes with the deck. Standard. And let's look at the artwork. We have the Fool. So the artwork is soft and textured. And what's he holding here? Typical of the Fool, but we don't have the little dog snapping at the heels. And I'm going to look right away because I'm curious as to whether they mention what he's holding up or not. Oh, interesting. So the little white book here starts with the minors and then does the majors after. I'll get there. It just says interpretation. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. All right. I'm going to go here because I am curious. All right. No. Oh my goodness. You guys, this whole thing could end up on an outtakes reel. PYEWACKET, honey, what are you doing? You are being the craziest boy today. Do you know that? Do you know you're being such a crazy boy? Well, this is giving me an idea of just how difficult it is to get through this book. All right, the majors are at the back, the Fool. Slung over his shoulder is a stick. He holds a white rose. Naked child reaches up in the upper left hand, in his right hand, he holds a blank piece of paper. That's all it says. That's the Witch's Tarot. So you interpret that as you wish. All right, Pie. Honey, I need to sit forward. He's going to strip me bare. Going to flay the flesh from off my bones. All right. Fool. And here, come on. You can sit on my shoulder, but just do it without making me bleed, please. The Magician. He looks very intense. So we have the infinity sign. And hooray, we've got left hand up and right hand down. That's the correct way. And all the symbols of the elements. The High Priestess. So the images are simple. They're not highly detailed. There aren't lots and lots of things. Do you see the garter on her? That indicates that she's a high priestess. And I think every time you hive off from your coven and another coven hives off, you get like another buckle or something like that. In some traditions, PYEWACKET. Oh my God. All right, little man, I'm going to see if I can work through this here. The Empress. He's going after my moonstone. So there she is. She's pregnant in this beautiful, abundant field. We see a full moon and a sun in the sky at the same time, which is odd. And do you see the spheres here? That's one thing to look at. In each one of the cards, you will see spheres. And that indicates where in the system, the Kabbalah system, these cards fall. And, recognizing, too, that that's the system that the Tarot came out of. Honey. All right. You got to go back. You got to go back, sweet boy. I mean, he's doing exactly the job that I've hired him to do, but yikes. All right, here's the Emperor. The High Priest. Look at him. That's my master sculptor, PYEWACKET. Happy Samhain, everybody. I hope this is entertaining for you. I really hope this is entertaining for you. There's the High Priest performing the Great Rite. I love that image. Here are the lovers. The artwork is interesting. This is a person who, oh my God, who has an interesting kind of image of how human bodies look. There's a slight awkwardness to like the way things are attached. There's just a very, I don't know, not sure if it's a style, but it's just an interesting thing. The Chariot. Strength. The Seeker. All right, down you go, Bubby. All right. Justice. Wheel of Fortune. The Hanged Man. And Death. And I'm going to pause at Death to light a charcoal, which I forgot to do. As this Samhain 2020 Mercury just begins to slow down to station direct, and my thoughts get kind of dense. Not really my thoughts, but my thinking process. All right, there we go. Death. Temperance. The Horned One. They got power butts, right? I mean, just the musculature is kind of interesting in some of these. The Tower. The Stars. And I want to go back to the Horned One here. the witch's god that has been demonized into the image of the Christian devil. And what he represents, he does represent kind of that wildness that takes us over. And the temptation, that strong desire we have in us. I mean, look at him, king of the wood. Think about the horned god and the representation of the god at this time of year, the stag god, who is owning the forest. The elk bugling, the stags bugling, that wild energy of nature, the wild energy of the hunt to mate, the mating, and how that can take you over. So I like that. The tower. Look at the light coming out of the tower. Today, at 10:49 Eastern Time was the point of the full moon on Samhain. This is the image I'm holding with Uranus conjuncting the moon. Please go back and look at my reading of that chart if you haven't watched it. This is what happens with the lightning struck tower. The walls start breaking down so the light can shine through. The stars. So the poses and everything are standard imagery, but then we don't have a tremendous amount of detail and symbolism aside from that. The moon, there's the wolf and the dog and the fishes. The sun. I like that it's two children. And one of them standing in a puddle. I don't know why that is. Judgment. And the universe. Again, we've got kind of a interesting grasp of anatomy and the way people look, but neither here nor there. All right. Ace of Wands. Again, lots of naked women, not many naked men. 2. The 3. Look, it's like Maid Mother Crone coming together. And look at this, the 2 of Wands, just looking at directing energy like that. The energy of making. Then we have the 4. So we're into very different imagery now. As promised, they have reimagined the minors. Look at the lights shining in. Beams of light. And then we have the 5. So we don't have an active tangle going on. We have a pre-tangle going on. The 6. Look at the like a reference to the I Ching there in a hexagram. And just getting things laid in a row. So usually 6 of Wands is the victory card, but this just talks about kind of getting things organized and getting things in a row. The 7, imagining, creating out of your mind is what I'm getting there. The 8. And there are just wands kind of hanging on the wall and lying on the table. Let's set him aside and take a look. The 9 is... Look at, they're flying into the mirror. Interesting. And the 10. 10, bringing something to fruition. Here's the idea. Here it was on paper. There it is in reality. Then we have the princess, the prince, the queen, and the king. And the core cards are just a difference of color in this deck. Now we have the Ace of Swords. And the swords are fire in this deck. As you see, back the bus up here. So here's a wand. There's a crown above it, and you see kind of air shushing here up in the sky. So wands are air. Oh, this is such a relief to me. If you want to know why, go to my Art of Ritual and look at videos on the elements and on air and fire. Wands and swords. So this one has a crown as well, but we have the... Oh, God, I have to look one more time. All right, see the figure of the human up there? That is the symbol of Aquarius, the angel. And now we have Leo here. So that's a big tip-off. If the flames aren't a tip-off, Leo is a tip-off that swords are fire in this deck. The 2. The 3. I mean, look at her kind of bounded by conflict. 4. Okay, this just gave me a little thrill because I'm getting ready to start cooking for Samhain. And actually, I started cooking yesterday, but really getting ready to start the cooking, and I love to cook. 5. All right, there's a battle going on. The 6 is a coat of arms. So let's find out what that one is. Then we have the 7, musicians. Okay, 7 of Swords is usually the thief card, so very, very different interpretation here. Very different. The 8, working as a machine together. The 9, it's you or me. And then the 10. I mean, that's like massive victory there, looks like to me. Then we have the princess, the prince, the queen, and the king. Again, in elemental colors. So yellow is the color of air in a lot of traditions. Now we have the water and eagle. So the fixed sign of all of the aces are the fixed signs of the elements. And for water, the fixed sign is Scorpio. And we have gone with the eagle rather than the scorpion, which is awesome. You notice the ace is feminine there in the feminine elements. The 2 of cups, scaling the heights. The 3, a fountain overflowing. The 4, 5, the 6. Lots of kind of celebratory. I mean, 6 and 7, what are the differences between these? We'll be looking things up today. 7, the 8, the 9, there's a reader, and the 10, there's another reader. We're talking about your intuitive skills, certainly princess, the prince, the queen, the king. And here's the Ace of Pentacles, the 2. Talk about building on your resources. The 3 is a pregnant card. The 4, fencing it, things out. The 5, rock slide. Wow. 6, looks like Beltane to me. 7, the 8, the 9. So we've got actually 3 pregnant cards in this deck, and the 10. Then we have the princess, the prince, the queen, and the king. And back to the beginning. And yes, on the ace, you see the Taurus, the bull up there. All right, let's look at the book. So the Witch's Kabbalah really is about that. This is a study book for learning the system of the Kabbalah. Well worth it if you want to make the investment. Here is, I'm sure this is in the Tarot book as well, but here's where it shows, where these cards fall between these spheres. So that's where you will see the spheres on the cards, showing where, like the Fool is where here, and this is the one that you see. All right, let's go in for this book. Introduction. Merry meet, brothers and sisters. If you're reading this because you read The Goddess and the Tree, formerly The Witch's Kabbalah, okay, The Goddess and the Tree is what that's called now. So obviously I've got like a first edition here, 1985. So that's how I had the book before. I had that book before the deck. All right. Because you've read that book and wanted more, Merry meet again. Your presence here means I succeeded in my goal when I wrote The Goddess and the Tree, for your reaching for more. The Goddess and the Tree was written to serve as a bridge between Kabbalah and pagan folk, so that a subject long spurned by my fellow pagans might become understood and used by them. From your reaction to the book, it has accomplished just that for many of you. This book is a continuation of that study. The first book dealt with the spheres and the tree of life. This one deals with the paths between the spheres, a subject of equal importance and one not as fully explored as the spheres. So this is a whole, like lifetime's worth of study just from reading that, because you're going to be studying the spheres and what they stand for and then thinking about the connecting between those two. Like I said, well worth the time if you're drawn to this study. Study of spheres is a fascinating one. And you can devote years of study to that part of the tree alone. I did, but the paths between the spheres are just as fascinating and interesting. They add depth to your knowledge. It's said that the spheres represent states of being and the paths represent states of becoming. So it's kind of like the modes and the elements. The elements are states of being. The modes are modes of behavior in astrology. So yeah, behavior and being. And that is the active and the receptive. State of being is passive or receptive, and the active is a state of becoming. All right. Spheres have spiritual experiences connected with them. The paths are spiritual experiences. All right. Number of the paths can be confusing unless thou knowest the mystery. Starting with Kether, all paths connected to it are numbered. We move on to the next sphere. I'm not going to go there. And talking about craft traditions and initiation, first, second, third degree. Then we go to the paths themselves. Now, the 32nd path. So we start with the World card. And then we go to Judgment. So we're going backwards through. And she doesn't show the schematic. That's very interesting to me. All right, we're talking about the spheres and the paths through the spheres. One would think there would be the schematic in here for that, and there is nowhere. So you really do need to have this if you want to understand exactly what those pathways are. And in this book as well, okay, I'm looking where the World card is. So that's like pathway 32. And yes, and now they're numbered. I'd like to see one where it's got the names and the numbers together on the same schematic. That would be awesome. All right, many schematics in this one. And also, I was just noticing, we've got instructions at the end about ritual and magical spheres and setting up astral temples and stuff like that. So, well worth it if you are drawn to that path. All right. So we go through each one of the paths as a card without even mentioning the card. Oh, there's the card mentioned. And for each one we have the letter. All right, Kether Bina. So we have the spheres that it goes between, what the number of the path is, the crown of understanding, the intelligence of the crown, the letter, the card, the astrological attribution, flashing colors, mythological figure, metal, animal, plant, jewel. And then there's a quote. And then there's a lot of information. Now, going to the back here. All right. Then there's a little section on using the paths, individual work and groups. Then there's the lesser arcana, divination with the tarot, reading the cards, and this is jumping out at me. It says, now hear this. There are no doomsday cards in the tarot. The Hanged Man does not predict death by hanging. The death card does not mean physical death. It is absolutely unethical to give a death and destruction reading just because it gives you a sense of power to frighten people. Ouch. If such is your mental and emotional makeup, I suggest for the good of your immortal soul, you put the cards away until you have done some serious growing up, and an understanding of karma does not exempt you from it. So, came out swinging there. There we go. I do not disagree. All right, Kabbalistic method of divination, major arcana, lesser arcana, the court cards, the suits. Then we have the aces. So we go through the minors, and then there is the section for the majors again, and we get a description from the Rider-Waite. We get one from the Golden Dawn, the Witch's Tarot, and then there's interpretation reversed, and that's it. Okay. Anything after that? Layouts and sample readings is in an appendix. Okay. Talking about how to turn your cards. Turn them this way, not this way, so you're not flipping things up or down. There's a yes or no layouts, 1 card, 3 card, Celtic Cross, and then some sample readings. Then there's a 4 seasons layout, the journeys of the paths, and lots of resources at the end, attributions and resources. Okay, both of these books, this one in particular, the binding is shitty. It's see that? I hate it when bindings crack like that. Anyway. Oh, I meant to look up these two. Or actually, this one, 6 of Swords. Just to see what that image might be. The Witch's Tarot says 2 people lift. That's cups. Oh, I see. So we've got like all the aces together, all the 2s, all the 3s, that layout. 6 of Swords is where I need to go. Tifereth manifesting through fire, will, action in the sphere of illumination. All right. Witch's Tarot says the lower right-hand section of the card shows a pelican in piety, i.e. feeding her children with flesh taken from her breast. The upper left-hand section of the card shows a phoenix rising from the flames. These 2 depictions are divided by 6 swords. Interpretation, self-sacrifice, the right action, a step towards spirituality, one who tries to better the world by action. If querent or subject of reading has not made this step, he or she must rebirth. All right. Let's give them a shuffle. It's a little stiff. They're just sleepy. I haven't worked with them in years and years and years. Still, the card stock is good and handleable and manageable. Like I said, when you can look at a deck like this with cards that are sturdy enough, you know, like a card. It's just a card. But they're so manageable and so handleable. All right, they feel like they're awaking now. Allies and ancestors, guides and guardians, I'm offering you fresh and salt water. On this Samhain, I am offering you the fire of Azrael in gratitude for the gifts you've given me. And I ask that my gift be active now so that a good Samhain message can come through these cards. For all of my viewers, no matter what time of year you're watching, no matter what time, may you get something. Oh, somebody is exploring. PYEWACKET. Hold up. Found his way behind the printer. I'm surprised it took him that long. All right. What do we need to know? And there's the 3 right off the rip. All right, so we have a minor, a major, and a court. Perfect. The stars in the middle. Let's go to the book. Okay. The Tower, the Sun. Okay, there we go. I'm going to go to the front here, actually, and see what path we're talking about here. All right, this is Temperance, the stars. There we go. So the path is between Netzach and Yesod, the victory of the foundation and the foundation of victory. Astrological attribution is Aquarius. Flashing colors are violet, sky blue, bluish mauve, and white tinged with purple. Aquarian colors. I really like that. Mythological figure is the Muse. The plant is olive, the jewel is sodalite, star sapphire, and star ruby, and the perfume is galbanum. The 28th path is called the natural intelligence. By it is completed and perfected the nature of all that exists beneath the sun. So, and then there's a big, long explanation, which I will not read. I will go here. The Witch's Tarot says a nude woman kneels, pouring fluid from one red and one blue vase into a pool at her feet. The pool is in the lower left-hand corner of the card, where we also see part of a purple sphere. Behind her is an olive tree. Above her is a large seven-pointed star. Other smaller stars can also be seen in the sky. At the upper right-hand corner, we see part of a green sphere. The interpretation is inspiration, creative energy, creative ideas come. Querent is inspired. You know what you want to say to create. The energy of motion added to your magic. The numbers 90 and 900. So when we're talking about thriving must include your creative energy flowing, because otherwise it's just surviving. If you're just eating and sleeping and paying the bills and making it through the day, that's not thriving. This is the difference between thriving and surviving. So this is talking about when you're thriving, there's love infused in my day. There's choice infused in my day. There is empowerment. Those things are empowerment, symptoms of empowerment. So when I'm empowered, I am choosing how to spend the time that I have a choice about. And if I'm choosing to spend that time generating creative things and generating positive energy and generating a sense of inspiration and love and creativity in myself, that's what I'm putting out into the world. So time to tap into the Muse. The turning point on this Samhain is to turn from survival into thrival, into thriving. And that means using our gifts in any way we can, every day that we can. Even the smallest bit counts. I cannot hammer on this enough. My husband and I were talking about this morning, that, he's talked about wanting to play the guitar. There are guitars all over this house, and how you stop yourself. And we do this, this is something I always wanted to do when I was young, but we feel like because I didn't do it when I was young, it's lost to me now. And, people say, do it anyway. You can start learning now. And the one of the defenses is, do you know how old I'll be by the time I learn to play? And the answer to that question is the same age you will be if you don't learn to play. Time marches on. It's not about getting to a goal or being a concert pianist or being, a fabulous guitarist. It's about spending time in joy, learning that thing every day. Spending some time playing on it. That's why they call it playing music. Spending time playing on it for the joy of it every day without the idea of I'm going to perform someday. Just get beyond that. Because what that is society coming back at us with, here is the judgment of whether this is a valid thing to do. It must succeed in some way. If it succeeds in giving you some joy to your life and helping you thrive rather than survive, then it's success. You define success. All right. 5 of Pentacles. Geburah manifesting through earth, the physical in the realm of restriction. So the description here is man in green struggles to remove rocks blocking his way. Cliffs rise on either side so that the man cannot move forward unless he moves rocks. Pentacles are on rocks. Loss of weight, loss of money, but in order to teach a lesson. Any losses represented by 5s are usually karmic and can therefore be less painful if you will strive to understand them. hold on one second here. I want to look at the fives, the beginning of the fives. Yes. So at the beginning of each of the denominations in the minors, she talks about that number. Fives are attributed to Gebura, the hall of karma, the sphere of restriction, of destruction of the temporal, of lessons to be learned. Think about the fives across the suits. They all have that strife about them, right? Most lessons are a struggle to learn, and for that reason, fives often represent struggles. This does not mean they're negative. They are often difficult because we learn better that way, stubborn beings that we are. Isn't that the truth? However, if we can realize that difficulties represent lessons to be learned, then we can seek the lesson and often make things easier on ourselves. If swords appear in positions representing the past, it may be time for us to recognize the lesson taught by past difficulties now that we've gotten far enough away from the event to be objective. All right, so that's just a little aside about swords there. But the fives definitely show struggle and strife. Restriction of finances for the purpose of directing, ill health, probably which will make the querent or subject of reading rest and do some thinking. It is easy to forget that "and it harm none" includes ourselves. Can I get a witness? You, number one, "and it harm none." Illness could be a warning to slow down. So here we're talking about, and removing obstacles, that there will be obstacles to remove. So what we need to do is remove the obstacles to our inspiration. Remove those things that we're telling ourselves that I am not worthy of learning an instrument because I'll never be Stevie Ray Vaughan, you know? Oh my God. Hold on. Dude. Pay your dues. Pay your dues, PYEWACKET. All right. So, you know, we are the only obstacle, really, to our own happiness. And this is talking about the happiness that comes from doing things that are joyful and fun for you to do, that don't necessarily make you money or serve a purpose, you know? So it's about the joy of life, which again is the difference between surviving and thriving, is finding joy in any circumstance. And you can, you know, be barely surviving if you look at it from externals like money. But thriving as far as your spiritual expression in your life, your spiritual connection, how much spirit moves through you on a daily basis. That's what inspiration is. It's moving spirit through you. Comes into your mind, you sit down and say, I'm going to do something with it. And maybe it's just taking out a sketch pad and making horrible sketches or writing some bad poetry. It's the act of doing it that counts here, not the product. You're not making a product. What you are doing is living life joyfully in the moment, doing something you love. So this is saying it's time to remove all of those blocks, literal mental blocks, to our enjoying life in that way. And that way we level up our lives and become more joyful. Now let's look at the Prince of Swords. Oh, so we go, yeah, all right, there we go. All right. They go backwards in everything except the minor arcana numbers, so they go king, queen, princess, prince, prince, princess. Prince of Swords, will, action in the world of formation. As with the Prince of Wands, the young man strides forward. He's dressed in red and carries a sword. The land around him is in summer, and he is passing a fire. The interpretation, that which is indicated by the card modified, has taken shape in action. So the court cards modify. Let me go back to the beginning of the court cards section. As you have learned, the method of interpretation uses the court cards as modifiers, this method. Each card's interpretation both depends on and affects the card dealt after it. Here we find a great disparity in names of cards, especially between the two decks of cards I've chosen to describe in addition to my deck. The Weight deck refers to the cards as King, Queen, Knight, and Page. In the Golden Dawn, they're King, Queen, Knight, and Knave, and blah, blah, blah. That doesn't really matter here. I use King, Queen, Prince, and Princess. The princes are summer and action. All right. So Interpretation. That which is indicated by the card takes shape in action. The results are forming and may well become manifest in actual action. Querent has been able to control will. So this says action, taking action. Remove the blocks, let the inspiration in, fucking do something with it. What are you going to do with it? That's up to you. Spend a pleasant half an hour doing something joyful, an hour, an afternoon, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or spend 10 minutes a day working on a project that you actually have an end result in mind, and spend just a little bit of time every day rather than trying to go at it whole hog and you know, pressuring yourself like with a deadline, right? Okay, so here's how we move into thriving on this Samhain season, by opening up, and you know, this tower card of a chart that we have for the full moon today, letting the cracks show, letting the lightning strike so that some of these obstacles and walls can be removed and we can feel the inspiration and take action on it. All right, I'm kind of happy with that for a Samhain reading. How about you? PYEWACKET is crazy boy happy with that.
He says, happy Samhain. Happy, happy, happy Samhain.
All right, you guys, thanks so much for hanging with me. There is a link below to send me a donation. I rely on your donations to keep doing this work, so I really appreciate it. You can send me a deck off my wish list, and I will read for you on this video, on your unboxing video. You can join my Discord. If the link doesn't work, please comment and I will change it. I'm not sure how this works because I had a link embedded and then suddenly it wasn't working. Maybe the invitation link changes periodically. I don't know. But let me know if you hit a hiccup. After Samhain, I'm going to be scheduling some events on Discord so we can have some voice chats and really have a conversation together, and I can answer your questions in real time, and it's going to be great without having to type. Yay. There's also a Patreon account that you can join if you would like. I am working on exclusive ritual content for levels of Patreon, so lots of stuff coming as I cross Samhain and take my inspiration to the next level, and PYEWACKET takes my back to a new level of pain and scabbiness. Right? I love you guys. Take care. Wear your masks. Stay safe. Look forward to our new beginning. Happy New Year. Happy Samhain.
Say bye, Pie.
This is the Zen Witch. Blessed be.